oh boy, we got mega big news. NIO is about to start cutting jobs by 10 to 20% in different departments. So this is apparently for every single department. They're going to cut jobs by 10 to 20%, which is pretty insane to think about. Obviously, we saw this coming. They've been hiring people like crazy, and especially in terms of the sales reps, some of the sales reps here in China, what you've seen is the amount of sales reps far exceeds the number of customers. And what that has caused is you go into a store and there's like 10 sales reps all huddled together, and it's just a really pressuring feeling, it feels awkward. It feels off, all right? And of course, working at NIO is a very good job. A lot of people do love working at NIO, and we've seen people really talk about how working at NIO is so great. You have, for example, this guy, he posted on Little Red Book, which is like Instagram, how working at NIO has so many benefits, such as, of course, getting coffee at the NIO house with NIO points, and then also being able to meet up with become different friends with car owners and also your employees, your colleagues, and then also chill out with your employees and colleagues after work. So for them, it's a very good job. But what you've seen is that some people, some sales reps, and they've been talking about this and complaining about this, and it's the fact that some of them didn't even sell a single car for a month. All right, and if that's your score, that's your achievement, then obviously you don't bring much value to NIO, and you got to be let go. So some people see this as bad that you're cutting workforce, but I think it's pretty good. You're making the operations much more lean, reducing expenses on employees. And at the end of the day, it's more about getting the best people for the job, right? And it's not like NIO's not hiring. NIO's also hiring a lot of people at the same time, as well as cutting people. It's a mixture of both. They're hiring and cutting people off. However, it's very interesting how a lot of people have turned this into a negative news. All right, right now, today in China, people saying this, all right, cutting workforce by 10 to 20%, along with a JAC trying to sell the factories, that's all bad stuff. And apparently, there's fear amongst some customers that NIO might potentially not last that long. It might be the next Weltmeister, which I do not think will happen, all right? Because in my opinion, both of these two things are good news. And by the way, this misunderstanding is definitely not helping with sales, because some customers are worried about this, legitimately worried about this, and are hesitating whether or not to buy a NIO. Now, I think both of these things are good news because, eventually NIO would have to move out from JAC. You can't always have someone help you build something. It eventually becomes cheaper to just build it yourself, all right, and not have to pay all those extra money. And also, you get your own certification that's no longer made by JAC. In a sense, it's made by NIO, and those car badges at the back of the car for NIO, you don't have to have it come out of the factory saying 江淮汽车, which means car made by JAC. Everybody does not look good. I mean, it does not look good. Made by JAC, come on. So actually, this is a good thing, right? NIO getting the factories. And then what about the workforce cut? Of course, we saw that coming. I mean, like, NIO has so many employees. It just doesn't make sense to have that many employees. And there should not be anybody that is just, the word is 躺平, which is like just lie down and earn money while lying down. No. So those ineffective or inefficient employees, gotta let them go. Those inefficient and low conversion rate stores also got to be let go. We've seen some of this happen. Some of the NIO stores that aren't so effective either get moved or just outright close them down. Doesn't make sense. You're paying rent. You're not getting anything out of it. Is that bad? No, it's not. NIO is definitely feeling a lot of the pressure. And obviously, a lot of sales reps are feeling a lot of the pressure. Management's feeling a lot of the pressure. because their peers are getting all-time high in terms of deliveries. NIO is, not there, teetering. Stock price is also very worrying for a lot of people. It's very good that they're making changes, but I think these changes might be a little bit too late. I think they got to cut workforce by as much as 30%, all right? In some areas, I think. In my honest opinion, and this is not against anybody. I know I don't want to see people lose their jobs, but when it comes to keeping those people's jobs or having NIO prosper, I'd rather have NIO prosper. All right. There's obviously lots of redundant jobs that are working easy hours. And so far, it seems like the strategy, all right, NIO's strategy of hiring a ton of sales reps, having a lot of soldiers is not working out, all right? Because remember, their target was 30,000 deliveries for this month, for last month, for October. They only reached about a little bit more than half of that. Obviously, management sees that this strategy is not working, right? Because what it's causing is that, a lot of people on the ground are just fighting for the same number of customers. Having more sales reps isn't going to increase your customers, the number of customers you have. You still have the same number of customers and same number of walk-ins. There are a lot of things that are causing NIO to not sell as well as its competitors. Some of them I perhaps should not talk about in this video, but I think the overarching problem has always been marketing and how NIO markets the product. And I wonder when management is going to realize that having more sales rep isn't going to get you more sales, whereas having much better marketing, putting much more effort into marketing, could lead you to much better results. Having more sales rep in turn actually just starves your good sales reps, because they have to fight for their orders now. They got to fight for the customers. And having, I don't want to say inhumane, but very strict rules placed on the sales reps to basically try to get more sales doesn't seem to be working that well. One of the rules they implemented was a sales rep has to stand right next to the door. Always, there has to be someone right there, always. And if you ever get caught, because there's cameras in the store, if you ever get caught not attending to a customer, you could get fired. I think weeding out the bad sales reps and leaving out the good one is very important. But I think NIO has to zoom out a little, look more at the bigger picture. What's going wrong? All right. Does everyone that leave the store know about battery swap? You know what NIO should do? NIO should do a questionnaire. Every time you finish a test drive, you have a questionnaire about how well the sales rep did their job. All right, you have a questionnaire about that. But I think they should really put in questions about whether or not they knew about battery swap. Have some questions inside. How long does it take for a battery swap? Did the sales rep tell you that? And of course, if they answer wrong, hey, it takes 15 minutes for a battery swap, you know that this customer did not learn about battery swap. They need to focus less, I think, not exactly focus less on the sales rep, but also focus on whether or not the sales reps have given the information, the proper amount of information to the customers, and they know the stuff. Ensure that everybody that left the store knows about battery swap. Apart from that, it's just marketing, guys. It's just marketing.